The detective sits across from you and places a photograph on the table. You look at it. You look at it the way you look at something your brain refuses to fully process. The way you look at an optical illusion where two things occupy the same space and your eye keeps sliding off the contradiction. The photograph shows a room. A specific room. Expensive furniture. A window facing west with a particular view of the city that you recognize. A body on the floor. The detective watches you look at it. She is good at watching. You can tell she is good at it the way you can tell a person is good at anything, by the quality of their stillness. She is not waiting for you to confess. She is waiting for you to reveal what you know by watching how you look at what you do not know you know. You ask whose room it is. She tells you. The name lands in your chest like something physical. You know the name. Of course you know the name. Everyone in your professional life knows the name. The name belongs to a man who has been the center of a specific and significant problem in your professional life for the past 2 years. A man whose existence has cost you things you do not have the emotional precision to fully inventory. A man you have thought about, in the specific dark register that certain thoughts occupy, more times than you would tell anyone. A man who is now dead on a floor in a room you recognize. You ask when it happened. She says Saturday night. Between 10 and midnight. You think about Saturday night. You think about where you were Saturday night. You open your mouth to tell her, and then something happens that has never happened to you before in 38 years of being a person who knows where they are and what they are doing. You cannot remember Saturday night. Chapter 1. The Shape of a Missing Night. You told the detective you were home. You say this because home is where you are on Saturday nights when nothing else is scheduled and your calendar shows nothing scheduled, and home is the reasonable answer. She writes it down. She asks if anyone can confirm that. You say you live alone. She writes that down too. She asks a few more questions in the specific patient sequence of someone who already has a shape for what happened and is measuring your answers against it. Then she thanks you for your time and gives you her card and tells you she may follow up. You drive home. You sit in your car in your building's parking structure for 11 minutes. You think about Saturday night with the focused attention of someone trying to locate a specific object in a dark room. You remember Friday clearly. You remember Sunday morning, the coffee, the newspaper, the specific quality of a Sunday that felt like recovering from something without the memory of what it was recovering from. Saturday is not dark. It is absent. Not the blurred absence of a night you drank too much or slept badly or let pass without marking. A clean absence. The kind of absence that has edges. You were somewhere and you came back and the somewhere didn't come back with you. You go upstairs. You check your apartment with the methodical attention of someone looking for evidence of their own evening. A glass in the drying rack that you do not remember washing. Shoes by the door with a specific pattern of scuff marks on the left toe that were not there Friday morning. A jacket on the hook with the right pocket turned slightly outward the way pockets turn when you reach into them quickly and do not push them back. You stand in your hallway and you look at these 3 things and you think about the man on the floor and the room you recognized and the name that landed in your chest, and you think about 2 years of professional damage and the specific dark register of certain thoughts, and you understand with a clarity that feels like falling that the absence of Saturday night may not be an absence at all. It may be the most present night of your life, sitting somewhere inside you, waiting for the right pressure to surface. Chapter 2. What the evidence knows. You don't go to a lawyer. This is either the best decision or the worst decision, and you will not know which for some time. You go to your office instead, at 7 in the morning on a Monday, and you sit at your desk and you think about what you know about the crime the way you think about professional problems, systematically, from the edges inward. The room in the photograph. You recognized it because you have been in it. Twice. Both times for professional meetings that were documented and scheduled and that any investigation would find immediately, which means your presence in that room has an explanation that predates Saturday night and that the investigation will already know about. This is either protective or incriminating depending on what else the investigation knows. The jacket pocket. You examine the jacket at home that evening under the specific focus attention of someone who is both the investigator and the subject of the investigation. The pocket contains nothing. But the lining at the bottom has a faint discoloration that you study for a long time. Small. Irregular. The color of something that was present and is mostly gone. You have worn this jacket twice in the last month. The last time was Friday. Your phone. You pull your location history, which you have always kept enabled because you have never until this week had a reason to want the history disabled. Saturday evening begins normally. Your apartment. A coffee shop 3 blocks away at 6:14, which you do not remember but which is consistent with a habit you have on weekend evenings when the apartment feels too interior. Then nothing. The location data stops at 6:47 and resumes at 11:22, back at your apartment. 4 hours and 35 minutes of absence. Location services disabled. You do not remember disabling them. You sit with this for a long time. A person who cannot remember 4 hours and 35 minutes of a Saturday evening during which a man they have reason to hate was killed, whose location data was disabled during exactly those hours, whose jacket shows a faint discoloration of uncertain origin, who recognized the room, who knew the name. You think about this person from the outside. You think about what a detective who is good at watching would make of this person. You think about the card in your wallet with her number on it. Chapter 3: The Doctor and What She Found. You go to a doctor on Wednesday. Not your doctor. A neurologist whose name you found through a search that you conducted on a device that does not connect to your home network, which is either paranoid or appropriate, and the line between those two things has been dissolving since Monday morning. You describe the absence. The clean edges of it. The way it is not fog but removal. She listens with the specific clinical attention of someone sorting symptoms into categories. She asks about your history. Stress. Sleep. Medication. You answer everything. She asks if this has happened before. You say no. She runs tests. You sit in a white room and look at the ceiling and think about Saturday and the pocket and the location data and 4 hours and 35 minutes of a person doing something they cannot remember. She calls you the following afternoon. Her voice has the careful neutrality of someone delivering information they want you to receive without the weight of their interpretation. She says the tests show a pattern consistent with a dissociative episode. She explains the mechanism. Acute stress. A specific neurological response to overwhelming pressure that partitions experience away from conscious memory. She says it is not common, but it is not manufactured. She says the memory may return partially or fully or not at all. She says it is not under your control. You ask her if it is possible to do something significant during a dissociative episode. She pauses the way people pause when a question contains more than it appears to contain. She says it is possible. She says the person in such an episode is functioning but not in a way that accesses normal conscious decision-making. She says they are operating from something older and more automatic than the part of the mind that makes considered choices. Thank you. You hang up. You think about the older, more automatic part of your mind and what it knows about Saturday night and what it did with that knowledge between 6:47 and 11:22, and whether the doing was the thing that the detective is building a shape around in a room you cannot see. Chapter 4: What returns? The memory does not return all at once. This is not how it works. It returns in pieces, the way feeling returns to a limb that has been without circulation, in small uncomfortable increments that tell you the thing was there the whole time and that the absence was the numbness rather than the reality. Tuesday night. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a specific image. A hallway. The particular carpet pattern of a building you have been in twice. Your own hand on a surface, steadying, the way you steady yourself when your body knows something your mind is catching up to. Thursday morning. A sound. Not a memory of a sound, but the sound itself arriving in your waking mind with the specific immediacy of something recent. A door. A specific weight of door closing in a specific way that speaks to the quality of construction in a certain kind of building. Saturday afternoon, 1 week after. You are sitting at your kitchen table with coffee you have not touched and the full sequence arrives. Not with drama. Not with the cinematic clarity of a revelation. With the flat, specific, entirely ordinary quality of a memory that was always there and is now no longer separated from the part of you that knows it. You sit with it for a long time. You look at the coffee. You look at the window. You think about what you now know and what the detective knows and the distance between those two things, and whether that distance is closing from your direction or hers or both simultaneously. You think about what the older, more automatic part of your mind decided on a Saturday evening between 6:47 and 11:22. You think about 2 years of professional damage and the specific dark register of thoughts you told yourself were only thoughts. You think about the difference between planning something and becoming the kind of person who does something without planning it because some part of you that operates below the planning decided the doing was already decided. Chapter 5: The Card. You pick up the detective's card on a Sunday morning 8 days after she placed the photograph on the table. You have been picking it up and putting it down for 4 days. The picking up and putting down is itself a kind of answer to a question you have not finished asking yourself. You think about what calling means. It means a conversation in which the memory you now have exists in a room with a detective who is good at watching. It means the careful clinical language of a neurologist describing a dissociative episode becoming part of a record that exists in the visible world where it can be examined and challenged and used by people whose job is to use it. It means the shape the detective is building gets compared to the shape you now know, and the comparison produces either an alignment or a divergence and you do not yet know which. You think about what not calling means. The absence continues officially. The investigation proceeds around an absence. The evidence, the jacket, the location data, the recognized room, the known name, the professional damage, the 2 years of the specific dark register, exists without the memory to confirm what the evidence implies. An absence is not innocence. But an absence cannot be cross-examined. An absence cannot contradict itself. An absence is the cleanest thing you currently have. This is the calculation of someone who committed the perfect crime. The evidence points without proving. The memory exists but only inside you. The neurologist's finding provides a framework that a defense would find useful and that a prosecution would find complicated. You understand this with a precision that disturbs you because the precision means that some part of you, the part that operates below the planning, may have understood it before Saturday night rather than after. You put the card down. You pick it up. You look at it for a long time. Then you dial. Not because the evidence requires it. Not because the calculation favors it. Because the memory came back on a Saturday afternoon while you were sitting at a kitchen table with cold coffee, and it arrived with a flat ordinary quality of something that was always there, and because carrying something that was always there and pretending it is still absent is a different weight than the absence was. The detective answers before the second ring. You say her name. You say you remember Saturday night. She is quiet for a moment in the specific quality of stillness you noticed the first time. Then she says, "Come in." You pick up your keys. You go.